We unfortunately have yet another case of yet another pardoned January 6er being convicted of yet another crime after Donald Trump released them back out into our streets. This one you can see right here is Andrew Paul Johnson was just convicted of child sexual abuse. And I want to remind everyone, had he not been pardoned, he would not have been able to engage in the child sexual abuse that he got up to. Thankfully, it was discovered. He has been convicted. That's the good news. We're gonna give you the details. On Tuesday, a jury in Florida found Andrew Paul Johnson guilty of 5 charges, including molesting a child under 12 and another under 16, as well as lewd and lascivious exhibition. Johnson was acquitted of 1 charge of sending sexual material to a child. He now faces up to life in prison when he's sentenced in March. Assuming Donald Trump doesn't pardon him again, I guess. I don't think he'll do that. Not because of the child sexual abuse stuff, but because I'm guessing he's not a billionaire. He'll probably stay in jail. By the way, a police report from the Hernando County Sheriff's Office filed as part of the case described a pattern of abuse, including both physical sexual abuse and exposing his genitalia to children that took place over a many-month span. One of the victims was 11 years old at the time of the abuse. And then there's also this. The child said that he confronted Johnson, who apologized and told the child not to tell anyone, quote, since he would get in trouble. Johnson then mailed the child an iPhone and told him to keep it a secret, but that wasn't the end of it. The sheriff's office said in an affidavit that Discord messages showed Johnson sneaking to the child's home to take him food and hang out with him. He also told the child that, quote, since he was pardoned for storming the Capitol on January 6th, he was going to be awarded $10 million as a result of being a, quote, Jan 6er, that he would then put the child in his will to take any money he had left over. So the connection between these two acts was even more explicit than you might have thought. And this is a pattern that we have been reporting on. There are at least 33 pardoned insurrectionists now facing other criminal charges. And so again, oh man, under Biden, if there was a migrant who came into the country 50 years ago and then committed a crime, they'd say it was Biden's fault. This is literally Donald Trump's fault. If they had stayed in prison, they would not have committed any of these crimes. But Donald Trump released them and they have been on a crime spree ever since. Luke, what do you think?
It's interesting. Well, number one, obviously, just a sickening story. And then it's interesting that you noted this, because what I was going to start my response with was, if he had been a rich friend of Trump's, he would have gotten away with this. And that kind of gives you just some weird connection of events in a few ways to embody how twisted this moment is. The most obvious direct connection is that he was freed by Trump, and not just freed, but described as a patriot. Yeah. And there was like a weird culty song they would play in honor of, or I guess they would play the choir, January 6th choir's national anthem at Trump rallies to honor these people. And then he thought he was being so honored that he used the fact that he was a January 6ther to like silence the kid.
Yeah.
That's how directly connected this is. And then the final element, and you kind of referenced the hypocrisy, but whenever you have a criminal who commits a crime and it goes viral and the right wing picks it up, and if you have any proof that this person was maybe charged with a crime before and then released, if they can at all loosely connect it to like lax law and order policies of Democrats in some blue city, then they show that as proof that it's directly a Democratic politician's fault.
Yeah.
And here, and sometimes you go, hey, maybe there was a policy that was wrong on some law enforcement issue, and maybe there should be some flack. But on this, it's so clear. It's not like, well, the system before Newsom got into office kind of already had a rule about this, but maybe if you loosely, it's literally Trump releases him from prison, he abuses a child.
Yeah.
And how there's not more outrage from the supposed child protectors who say, which this is falling apart in many ways for them, obviously, but who say we can't have drag queens because we care about the children so much, are silent on this.
100%, yeah. And by the way, this isn't the only one that specifically committed child sex crimes. There were 6 6 of them. Jan 6 actually committed child sex crimes. 2 were charged with other rapes. There's child pornography charges. There's gun charges. And none of those crimes would have committed if Donald Trump hadn't released them. And by the way, as Rioter pointed out, normally we would not have reported on any of this because the stock market was doing so well. But today it dropped, the Dow Jones dropped below 50K. So we are actually allowed to report on pedophilia. Pam Bondi, lest you attack me.